Hello, hello. Welcome to the final day of the Fin and Foil Championships. We will be focusing today on a broad range of classes. We have the technos and the race boards on one course, and we also have the wings and the IQ foilers on the slightly further away course. So we will initially be checking out the course areas and seeing which one we'll be focusing on first. Okay, as we can see below, this is the wing course, and the wings and the IQ foilers will just be making their way towards the line, and then we'll be starting a race very shortly indeed. Okay, this is the foil committee boat. As we can see, orange flag is flying. That's the warning signal. We will be racing imminently. The wings will be gathering, and we'll be going into wing race 2 of today. The wings are planning 6 races in total. The IQ foilers are planning 4 races in total. So we'll have 5 races filmed on the wing course for the wings, and we have 3 races planned for the IQ foilers for the remainder of the day. As I said earlier, we also have the techno course and the raceboard course, so we'll be filming some techno and raceboard later on as well. That's Isla Watson on the screen just there. She's one of the top British sailing team female sailors, and I believe she's been top 5 at the World and European Championships multiple times, so really high level sailor. And well, yesterday she was pretty dominant in the latter races, but actually the morning races, the youths did pretty well and actually beat her in a couple. I think she finished 2nd and 3rd in the morning races and then got a double win in the afternoon races. So it's really interesting to see those youths pushing, and we'll see how the afternoon racing goes for her.
Andy, how's mine look?
Okay, guys, we are going to be watching the IQ Foilers race now. We're on less than 2 minutes until their start, and we're just approaching the start line now. We're doing a downwind course, so we do a reach, a downwind, and then a reach to finish. Very simple course, very light winds, and we'll see how it goes. The top guys in the IQ Foil fleet currently are Ivan Bosch, who is currently battling with Dan McGregor for first. We've got in third Charlie Baker, who's had a very good event for him, and then we've got one of the open foils, one of the slightly older guys, but obviously very competitive in the IQ Foil open foil fleet, and that is Dave Coles in fourth. Then followed up by Will Greenhaw in fifth, and first girl currently is Alice Bennion in the youth, and then first junior girl is Sophie Clark, and then we've got Ollie Ebden as the first junior boy. We're just approaching the start now on starboard. Everyone's coming in now. So they're all coming in fairly slow, timing that start. We have roughly, they're looking quite early, slowing down, pumping towards the line, and they are off. Really extending down at that pin end. The youth board 170 is doing very well, followed up closely by, I believe, Isla Watson on the senior board above, but really impressive to see the youth sailors doing so well. Okay, that's youth 170 just rounded. Big clump of sailors, really tight in the second to fifth position. We'll be following them downwind now. The main aim on the downwind is stay in pressure and stay within the ley lines. You don't want to overlay, and however, you certainly don't want to underlay right at the mark either, as that can be pretty fatal if you drop off the foil at the bottom. It's a double jibe, so that's the mark down there, the yellow straight ahead. They'll be jibing around that mark and then going for a reach. Looks like they're perfectly on ley line. Jibing now on ley line. Still GBR 170 is leading, followed up closely. Oh wow, Isla Watson in fourth. This is their jibe for the final reach. Currently still in the lead. Very impressive race from GBR 170. And that's the leader across the line, followed up closely by second or third. First race of the IQ Foil done for the day. So that was the Scottish sailor Dan McGregor, who led from the first mark all the way to the finish. Really impressive race from him. Dan's currently in the youth squad and the GB youth squad, one of the only Scots currently in the GB youth squads. Very impressive guy, competes internationally in multiple events, and he's really one to watch for the future. Okay, we'll be going into the wing racing now. This is the race 2 of today. In the wings, the main front runners are Rafty Reed, who is a world tour competing wing rider. And then in second, at the moment, we have Freddie Strawson. He's a very exciting sailor from Poole, only been competing for 3 months in total. And this is one of his first big events, but very exciting one to watch for the future because he's very committed and he's humongous, huge guy, really tall, really heavy, and ex-professional rower, so really interesting guy to watch for the future, and he's improving pretty quickly. In third we have Steve Follis, and he's having a very consistent week so far. He's doing very well. And then followed up 4th, 5th, really clipping at the top three's heels, we have some of the younger guys, Tom Pringer on the X15 class and Johan Vittel on the X15 class as well. So we've got a really good fleet. We've got 24 wings competing today, so we'll see 24 wings all competing together, X15 and open class. And we're within their 3 minutes currently, so we'll see all of them cross the line on starboard. They're doing the exact same course as the IQ foils, so they'll be doing downwind SD3, which is reach, downwind, reach, reach. Going live. Okay, this is the wing start. We have all the wings approaching now. And they're just approaching line, slowing down. Rafty Reed right at the bottom, going for the pin end start. Then above, we have, I believe, Guy Cribb properly sending it. Actually, that's Freddie Strawson, so we've got Rafty Reed versus Freddie. That's first and second in the event overall. Properly sending it. You can see Freddie, huge towering figure, although Rafty is leading round the first mark and heading downwind. We'll see a proper match race between 1 and 2. Really cool. Freddie's pumping, Rafty's pumping. They work really hard, these wings on the downwind. Fully pumping, quite similar to the IQ foil in that way actually, and lots of these guys are ex-IQ foil sailors. Rafty competes in the IQ foil techno, so he's used to pumping, and Freddie, oh, he's waving at the camera. He's got the confidence to wave at the camera while racing. Freddie's jibed off, Rafty's jibed to cover him. We'll see whether Freddie can get an inside line and do an overtake, but currently Rafty looks very well in the lead. These wings are actually fairly impressive. They can go pretty fast downwind, reaching speeds well over 20 knots. That's Rafty jibing, really good ley line, and Freddie jibing as well, also on the ley line. Looks like Rafty's actually extended his lead. Rafty's been competing for a few more years and has done many World Tour wing events. Freddie, as I said, has only been competing for 3 months, so Rafty is the much more experienced winger. You would expect Rafty to win, but actually Freddie has been really clipping at his heels. So this is the final 2 reaches to the finish, unless there's a significant crash. Oh, that's a crash. That's a crash. Freddie Strawson has crashed, and that leads the way for Guy Cribb, I believe, on that clear wing to overtake, going in for the jibe. Yep, that's Freddie crashed. Let's see how quickly he can get up and pump and hopefully not lose too many places. Very difficult in these light airs, especially high stress situations. Last jibe before the finish, all he had to do to cement second was stay foiling, and unfortunately he was unsuccessful in that. But as I said, he's a new foiler, and not a new foiler, he's been foiling for 4 years, but a new to racing, and I'm sure the pressure will get better and better, and he'll handle the pressure better and better as he develops. Okay guys, that was wing race 2. All the other guys will be coming in to finish now, and we'll be going up to watch the IQ foil race 2 as well. Alright, we're just approaching for the race 2 of the IQ Foilers. Their start gun has gone and they'll be approaching the start now. We're just coming in to the scene, so we'll see very shortly. I believe that's them approaching on starboard within the last minute, so we'll just catch their start and their second race. Alright, that's them just rounding mark number 1 and heading downwind. We'll see if Dan McGregor can back up his first win in race 1 with another win. There does look like there's a youth board at the front. We'll see very shortly if that's Dan McGregor coming in for a second win. Followed up closely by a senior board, which I believe is Isla Watson. Very tight race at the front there. And then we have Charlie, who is currently in 4th, following up in 3rd currently. Not Isla, that's Ivan, so it's Dan McGregor and Ivan racing each other. And then Isla coming in on top, so it's a Dan McGregor, Ivan, who's the leader overall, and Isla Watson, British Sailing Team Sailor, all coming in. We'll see who gets the inside line on the mark. Dan up ahead, Isla squeezing in the inside, overtaking Ivan. We'll see on the final 2 reaches. 2 more reaches to the gun. The jibe is going to be really important. All Dan needs to do to cement the lead is a clean jibe and not leave too much gap on the inside for Isla to slip into. We've got Ivan super tight. Isla will probably be focusing on keeping Ivan behind her rather than overtaking Dan. Unless Dan messes up the jibe. Let's see. Clean jibe from Dan. Clean jibe from Isla. Really good. Isla's actually closed the distance. She's pumping. She's pumping. She's pumping. Really closing up the distance to Dan. I think he'll manage to keep the lead all the way to the end. But very tight race. Really good from Dan, Isla and Ivan. 3 top sailors. Ivan and Dan really fighting for the win at the moment, so that's very relevant to get Isla in the middle of the 2 and get another point on Ivan. And that is Charlie coming in 4th. He's 4th overall, so that's quite on brand, and that'll be a good result for him to stay in the medal mix. And that's all the other sailors coming in. Really tight racing today. That's because we've actually got quite consistent breeze out there. It is slalom conditions, but it's almost on the cusp. It's almost you could do slalom or you could do course. They've chosen to do slalom today, and it's super tight racing. There's no one dropping off the foils, which is really nice. Yesterday we had some people dropping off the foils, which obviously makes it a bit trickier racing, but everyone's fully foiling, everyone's in the race, and it's close, tight racing. The IQ Foilers will just be heading back upwind to start their 3rd race, and we'll catch a wing race in the intermediary. So that was race 2 of the IQ Foilers completed, and now we'll be going into race 3 of the Wings. The main guys in the Wings is obviously Rafty Reed, who we just watched dominate that race, and then Freddie Strawson, who was really pushing him, and we'll see how those two battle in the upcoming race. Freddie obviously fell in on the last jibe mark of the race. He'll be kicking himself over that because he did throw away a couple of places. It happens. It's easy to make mistakes when you're under pressure, and the last jibe mark, when you really almost feel like you're homing through, that's often when the mistakes happen. The last jibe is often the scariest jibe you can make. The last reach, we were watching the Olympics very recently, and watching the last reach when everyone was in their medal positions, it must have been the scariest reach of everyone's lives. Okay guys, we're just approaching the 1 minute signal for the wings. They'll be coming in on starboard and exact same course as the IQ foil is. So we'll see what happens. The ones to watch are Rafferty Reed and Freddie Strawson as the top two wing sailors. We'll just be approaching the 1 minute. When that black flag on the committee boat comes down, we'll be hitting exactly 1 minute until the start. The wingers are just all jibing backwards and forwards, trying to keep foiling and keep in the wind, and then once the black flag comes down, they'll just be focusing on their 1 minute start run up. The main aim of the start is to hit the bias at the gun at speed. The main things, the most important things, are hitting the line at speed on the gun, but obviously when we've got a slight two-man race at the front with Rafferty and Freddie Strawson, and well, it's got a three-man race with Steve Follis as well, we obviously do have a bit of line bias coming into it, because if Rafferty takes the pin, he's going to be quite hard to overtake, so potentially we will see Freddie take the pin. They're just approaching the line for the starts now. One wing really early, really early indeed. That's them across the line. We'll see if there's a general, but that wing may have saved it just in time. Rafferty right at the bottom. Oh, Freddie coming in over the top. Freddie coming in over the top. Yep, they're jibing round. Whoever that was did cause a general, and they'll need to be restarting that race. We're having some slight signal issues, which is why you're seeing a jumpy feed, but we're sorting that out currently, and you'll have a smooth feed for that very quickly in due course. This is us just approaching the start with our other drone. This is the recall of the Wings third race. We'll be doing 6 races today, so 4 more races to go, including this current one. Really strong start by Freddie Strawson there in the previous general recall start. I don't believe he was over. I believe the person that went in super early and actually had to try and save it and fell in right on the start line was the one that was actually over and called it early. Bit of a shame, because Freddie had a smashing start. Rafa was really in the mix with a good start below, but I do believe Freddie had him in that one and would have rounded first. But we'll see whether Freddie can redo that start effectively. Really tough when you have an amazing start and it's generaled due to no fault of your own. But it's something in racing you've got to learn to accept, move on from, and focus on the next race. Really important in this racing business to be able to reset and focus on the next race. It's a skill that many people take years to master. Some people it comes naturally. I know personally in my racing it took a long time, and maybe I haven't quite figured it all out yet. You know, so Freddie's aim right now will be to completely reset and do the same again. Should give him confidence though that if he did it once, he can do it again. Okay guys, we're within the 3 minutes now for the wing start. We're going to redo the start. It was a general recall previously, so this is wing race 3, and everyone's just jibing away, staying on the non-course side of the line, and we'll see how everyone gets off. Okay, this is the wings approaching the start. We're really looking for a clean start. Oh, I think that's Freddie coming through with speed. I believe that's Rafty right at the bottom. It's a clear start. Yeah. Okay, we have a replay of the previous race with Rafty clear ahead at the pit end. Freddie on top. As I said before, it's a real battle between those two top guys. Freddie really clipping at the heels of Rafty, not quite catching them in the previous races, but we'll see if he catches them this time. Rafa's aim at the moment will just be staying between Freddie and the mark, therefore Freddie will find a really hard time overtaking Rafty. They're both pumping. Rafty's working really hard. Short reps. Looks like Freddie's going in for a jibe. Freddie's jibing early, and I suspect Rafty will throw in a jibe very quickly just to cover him. Okay, Rafty's jibing, really extended, waving. He's a confident man. He thinks he's got it in the bag. Anything can happen in racing. I'm not sure I'd be so confident with ex-professional rower and skilled winger Freddie behind, working hard down the inside, but it does seem like Rafty has a skill edge here, which isn't surprising as he is one of the top 10 worldwide wingers, which is quite impressive. He is really top 10 in the world at wing racing, so we've got quite a high level wing fleet, which is why we see the separation in the fleet. Rafty's jibed off. That probably means he's on the ley line. Let's see if he's got it spot on. Freddie's actually carried on. That suggests Freddie doesn't think he's on the ley line. Okay, Rafa goes round one-handed, very confident. Now he's just got jibe. We'll see if he gets that jibe. He doesn't fall in. Sails safe currently. He won't be overtaken. Rafa with a really dominating performance in race number 3 of the wing racing at Fen and Foyle Championships final day. Oh, huge jump. Now that's almost rubbing in the faces of those behind. But as I said, it's a very, very nice community here. Everyone's very friendly, and they do understand that Rafty is in a little bit of a league to his own at this event. Super impressive guy. Everyone will be learning from Rafty as one of the top wingers in the world, and that's everyone else following. The white and red wings are the X15 junior classes, and they're the smaller X15 wings, which is a new starboard initiative for One Design winging that we've got here. If you notice, some people have foot straps, some people don't have foot straps. Often the more advanced sailors will be having foot straps, and the ones that are still developing their wing skills will keep the foot straps off. We've got a spread in the fleet, and that's due to skill level, equipment, and also racing. Some of the guys further back actually will be quite experienced racers, having raced a lot in their time, and will be sort of developing the wing skills. So we'll expect actually next year, when we have the wing racing, that potentially we'll see some changes in the results, as I'm sure some of these guys further in the back will be training pretty hard, and the young kids such as Tom Pringer, who's in 4th place overall, is properly sending the wing. I think he got a 28 knot top speed quite recently, so super impressive top speeds by Tom Pringer, and he's really one to watch in the future. He does IQ foil racing, so he's getting the racing experience in multiple classes, and he is a pretty handy winger as well, so maybe next year we'll have a bit of more competition for Rafty from Freddie and some of the youngers coming up as well. We're just heading upwind now to the IQ foil start, and we'll be going in to the IQ foil race number 2 of the day. This is the IQ foilers approaching the line for a start of their SD free slalom course, an exact same course as we just saw on the wing. Dominating performances at the moment by Rafferty Reid. Apologies, Rafferty Reid in the wing, and we'll see if Dan McGregor can dominate the foil. He's had 2 very good races so far. Last race was Ivan Bosch, Isla Watson and Dan McGregor all fighting for the top, with Dan McGregor just managing. Super slow start. Looks like many people may have been over. We'll see if it was a clear start or not in due course. Looks like it was a clear start. We've got a youth board punching ahead. We'll see who that is. Looks actually like the youth boards have punched 1, 2, first and second as the youth, one of which is likely to be Dan McGregor, and then we've got 2 senior boards following up in 3rd and 4th, and that would be Isla Watson and Ivan Bosch. One of the seniors jibing off, trying to split away from the fleet. Quite a good tactic in this sort of wind. You don't want to get in the wind shadow the bulk of the fleet, especially if you round in the 4th to 5th spots. It can be quite hard because you've got the guys in front effectively steering you, and it's very hard to overtake with the extra wind shadow from those behind. Okay, we've got a youth really punching out on port ahead of the fleet, followed up closely by another senior. I believe that's Dan McGregor out in front, and then I believe we're followed up by Isla Watson, and we had a split from Ivan, who looks really, really good coming in on the starboard. We'll see this cross, Dan McGregor vs Ivan, and we'll see the cross. Let's see what happens. Looks like Dan McGregor is staying in front, although, yep. 2 youth boards out in front. Very impressive. Senior board coming in the inside. That's Dan McGregor rounding first. And we'll zoom in closer to the sails and work out which senior sailor that is in second, whether that's Isla Watson or Ivan Bosch. Yep, that's Dan McGregor out in front. Oh, wow, GBR 400. Not Dan McGregor, that's Charlie in 4th, getting his first win of the day. Super impressive. Then Isla Watson in second, and then we've got, wow, complete turnaround of people in this one. Incredible. That's going to do really, really good things for Charlie's scoreline. Incredible things. Getting a win in that race. He's in 4th currently, so that may even push him into the top 3. He's been sailing super consistently and super well, and he looked impressive. He really performed well in that race. Just got all the other IQ foilers rounding the marks now. Currently, Alice Benyon is the first girl, and then we have, as our first junior girl, we have Sophie Clark, and she is actually second girl overall, so the juniors are doing very well in this. And then we have potentially a lead change there with Dan McGregor in first, followed up by Ivan, and then potentially we have slipping into third there Charlie, but we'll see how things develop, and I'll update you as soon as the updated results come out. We're just watching the IQ furlers head back up to the start line now, and we'll be running into some wing racing shortly. We have a close-up of Ali Masters, the IQ foil coach, and Rafty Reed chilling on the boat. Maybe Ali's giving him some pointers on how to improve even more. Maybe getting Rafty in trouble for that jump on one of the final reaches. Pretty impressive. I'm not sure it would have been appreciated by Freddie behind, but incredible scenes there. Huge jump on the final reaches. That takes a confident man to pull that off, and Rafty is a confident racer, so we'll see how he does later, and whether Freddie hatches any plans on how to overtake him any of those races. Actually, the general recall, he did have an incredible start, Freddie, and he would have rounded first, and it would be interesting if Freddie does round first, how Rafty responds, and whether Rafty is able to overtake him, or whether Freddie will take that advantage and cement the win. We will see. Okay, we're just approaching the wing foil start. Not currently flying any flags other than the orange warning flag, so that's letting the wingers know that we will be starting relatively shortly, and then they'll run into a 3-minute sequence, same course, SD free. Okay, we're about to start the wing race number 4 of 6. So 3 races more to go, including this one. We've had Rafty absolutely dominate the wing racing so far. Rafty Reed, professional winger. We'll see if also recently turned professional winger Freddie Strawson catches him in this one, or whether Rafty has time for maybe 1 or 2 more jumps on the final reach before finishing. We'll see if that increases confidence even more. I haven't ever seen that in all of racing. I've never really seen anyone jumping during the race. I've seen people jumping after the race, but during the race, that's a new one for me. So cool to see from Rafty. Okay, this is the wings now approaching the start for race number 4. Do we see Rafty execute a pin-in start like he has every time? We'll see. It looks like he has. Looks like Rafty right there on the bottom. Incredible start. Then we have Guy Cribb on top, and we have an X15er. Is that Tom Pringer? Really good start on the committee boat. And then Freddie Strawson in the pack, covered. Looks like he's in about 4th place, and I suspect will pan out and we will see Rafferty round in first. But Tom Pringer looks like he's doing pretty well. Yep, that's Rafferty Reed in a league of his own. He might have time for a big old jump before finishing, because he looks like he has a decent lead there. We've got a tight battle further back between, looks like, Freddie Strawson and Tom Pringer. And then we have also Guy Cribb, who's ex-world champion in the windsurfing. Very but he's a super good racer and has achieved some pretty top speeds, well above 30 knots, I believe. Strawson looks like he has rolled into second. As I said, it's been pretty much a match race between Rafty Reed and Freddie Strawson in the 1 and 2 all weekend so far. We've got Freddie really pumping, and you know, Freddie's a strong pumper, partly due to, I'm sure, to his 3 years stint of professional rowing. He says he could have gone to the games, had a little bit of an injury which set him back, and then he discovered the love of foiling, which, you know, I personally like the foiling a bit more than I like stepping on a rowing machine, so I understand why he's pretty keen on this. Rafty Reed really out in front, followed up by Freddie. Not looking like we're going to get an overtake here. Super good sailor, Rafty. And then we're followed up by a couple of others, Guy Cribb, Tom Pringer, and potentially Steve Follis as well. Nice shot of Freddie going in for the jibe. He did fall in on a jibe earlier, so we'll see if he makes it round this time. Yep, super easy, no pressure at all. Big gap to third, and Rafty already finished. That's Guy Cribb rounding in third. I believe that is Steve Follis in 4th, and we have, I believe, Tom Pringer in 5th. Tom Pringer is 4th overall. Currently super young guy, and he's one to watch for the future, probably sending it on the One Design X15 equipment. I believe that's Johan Vittel just rounding now. One of the youngest wingers we have out there. Better jibe, and has he managed an overtake? Might have just managed an overtake there as well on the last jibe of the race. It's tight battle for 5th place, I believe. Yep, the youngster Johan Vittel has managed. Oh, and a big crash. That's what happens when you're properly sending it near the on the final reach. You know, you've got to give it absolutely everything to stop that final place overtaking you. It feels pretty bad when you're reaching and someone's reaching faster than you underneath, but unfortunately, if you take things too far, maybe you won't just lose one place, maybe you'll lose 2, 3 or more, and unfortunately that's what's happened to that winger right there. Okay, we'll be heading upwind now to the IQ Foilers.
Probably use you back out in a minute. Yeah.
Good. Okay guys, this is the IQ Foilers approaching the start line on starboard for the ST3 course. We have had a bit of a change up last with Charlie Baker winning the race. Charlie Baker is currently 4th overall. We can see if he can back up that win. A bit more confidence going into this race, and we see how he does. Super tight at that pin end. Looks like a senior board out in first, smashing start off the pin end. That will likely be Isla Watson or potentially Ivan, who was the winner overnight. Although the youth board is absolutely sending it on the reach. The youths are often faster on the reach than the seniors. They've got a bit of an advantage with the smaller sail. Okay, nope, the senior sailor stays in the lead, and that is Ivan. Ivan, the overnight leader, followed up by Charlie in second. Really impressive from Charlie. And then we have Isla Watson behind in third, and we just witnessed before Dan McGregor jibing out. That's Charlie jibing second, and then we have the leader, overnight leader Ivan Bosch, jibing out. Isla carrying on further to the ley line. We'll see if she can throw in a sneaky overtake there by sailing a different course and splitting off to the rest of the fleet. She'll be working hard, pumping hard, and hoping to just slip in there with room at the mark. If you're really close to the pin end, to the leeward mark, you actually do have room even when approaching on port. Isla going in for the jibe, Isla in first, and then we have Ivan Bosch, so the seniors really doing well that race, and then we're followed up by Charlie Baker and Dan McGregor. We're just going to go up now to focus on the next wing start. We're approaching with the next drone, and we may actually just catch the end of the IQ foil race. Wow, that's a good shot of the bulk of the IQ foil fleet coming into the leeward mark. Inside line does have room when rounding the mark, but doesn't have room sort of 10 board lengths or out with the mark. Then it's windward leeward situation. Okay, tight situation, okay. As long as the sailor below leaves room, enough room for the sailor within to round the mark in a seaman-like fashion, then they're within the rules. but it can be a very tight situation as you're approaching that leeward mark at full speed. Everyone's stacked up, and actually there can be a multi-rule situation where there's a multi-stack of sailors. The inside boat still has right of way. Okay, they're all going jibing in. Do we see a jibe on the inside? Yeah, super tight racing here in the mid-pack. It's quite funny. Often you see the guys at the front look so relaxed racing, and then in the mid-pack that's where the real fight is, and that's because things get intense when everyone's so tightly packed. And actually, if you sail a simple race and a clean race and go for those inside lines and play the rules well, you can make some big gains in the mid-pack. And the front of the mid-pack, well, that's pretty near the front. We're heading up now, and we'll be catching the wing racing shortly. Okay, this is the view of the committee boat. We'll be launching into race 5 of the wings. Okay, we're expecting wing race 5 to go off shortly. In the meantime, we're going to put on a quick interview from the wings from yesterday. Introduce yourself.
Introduce myself. I'm Guy Cribb. I'm from the other end of this country, and I've driven up from Poole over the last couple of days to be here for the Scottish fin and foil thing, which looks epic. I'm actually, literally just arrived. Spent 2 days-ish driving in traffic across Britain, and I was the whole time thinking, shall I, shan't I, what is this all about? I'm here, and my first impressions is, my goodness, how could I have ever doubted coming here? How would I ever have missed this? Look how many people there are. Good at, straight away you can just see it's good. So, yeah, very happy to be here.
What's your ambitions for this event? You going for the dub?
What's the dub?
The win?
Oh, the win?
The gold, the title?
Yeah, it's going to be tough with Raf and Fast Freddy here. Yeah. So, if I get third, I'll be really happy. And if I win it, I'll be overjoyed. So.
You mentioned Fast Freddy. You've been training with Freddy down in Poole, haven't you?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are Freddy is world champion material in future because he's 2 meters tall and he's 100 kilos and he's fit, like unbelievably fit. And, when you get a really tall person like that, who isn't gangly and isn't, out of sorts, he is so athletic that from the moment I saw him on the water, I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen anyone like that since Bjorn Dunkerbeck, who was the same kind of dimensions with the same athleticism. Bjorn used to be able to stand here on a beach, do a backflip and land on his feet when he was about 110 kilos. There's not many people in the world who can do that, but Freddie's that kind of caliber. So yeah, I've been training him. He's got no racing background, and as you well know, Andy, without the tactics, there's only so far you can go. But his strengths are going to be his speed and his ambition and his agility. He's going to be really good. It's going to take a while.
It's always easier when you're faster, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So what's your prediction? Freddy versus Rafty?
Well, unfortunately, Freddy hasn't got the fastest foil. He broke his foil the other day, so he is at a bit of a disadvantage for that. But to be fair, I think at the moment Raf would still beat him because Raf's got the full package. He's got all the moves, he's got all the tactics, he's got all the racing experience, and he's on fast equipment, and he's fast. Whereas Freddy has got semi-fast equipment that he's getting used to. He's borrowing boards, foils, wings. He doesn't really know what he's got yet. And he's incredibly talented and fast, but he hasn't done that many starts and races, and he's done a few. He's done enough to know his way around the course, but there's a good chance Freddie's going to make a mistake here or there. And even if he's 10% faster, then Raf's got the whole package. Raf just has to sail a good, consistent race, and I think he'll win. But in a straight line speed event, if they're on equal equipment, no one's going to be faster than Fast Freddy.
So you think at the speed point, we've got...
Here he is. Fred, come and stand in. We're just doing a quick interview. Come and stand in. Here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we were just chatting about how fast you can be.
In a straight line, quite fast.
Yeah.
So you think you've got the dub on the speed zone out here?
Yeah, I definitely have it. Possibility, but it's just whether it happens or not is another thing,
Wonderful. Well,
here we go, Andy.
You guys racing.
Andy, you might as well film this going on the helmet. Here we go. They said put it on the helmet. Put it on the top in case there's any aliens watching.
Wonderful.
Cool.
All right, good luck, guys. Cheers.
Cool. Thank you.
Guy, quick fire interview.
What do you want?
Was it?
What, the shower?
The racing.
Oh, the racing. Well, there wasn't much wind. It was very little, so the race officers did very well to get any racing in, and they managed to squeeze it in when the gust came through. And they did 2 races.
Okay, guys, we are in for race 5 of the Wings. The warning signal's up, so we'll be starting imminently. The Wings will all be doing their own little build up to the start. Everyone's aim is to approach on the gun at speed and hit that line full speed, preferably at the bias. Rafty Reed, our professional winger, has been hitting the pin end repeatedly, so maybe some of the others will join him down there, and that'll highlight a little bias. We'll find out shortly whether he's challenged for that pin end or whether they just let him cruise to another win. Okay guys, we're having slight technical issues with one of the drones. We'll have another drone out there to replace that drone very shortly indeed, and then we'll be hopefully catching the wing start.
Introduce myself. I'm Guy Cribb. I'm from the other end of this country, and I've driven up from Poole over the last couple of days to be here for the Scottish fin and foil thing, which looks epic. I'm actually, literally just arrived. Spent 2 days-ish driving in traffic across Britain, and I was the whole time thinking, shall I, what?
So Dan, welcome back to your second Scottish fin and foil here in Stranraer.
Yes.
Can you tell us a wee bit about how it's going so far?
Yeah, it's going quite well at the top. Won most of my races. Got 3 seconds. Ivan's beat me. Yeah, it's going quite well right now. Very fun.
Brilliant. So you're our #1 IQ foiler in Scotland at the moment as well, aren't you? So how does that title sit with you just now?
It's pretty good. It's a nice feeling. It's really great.
And tell us a wee bit about your kind of training that you have to do for that as well.
Yeah, so got into the youth squad at the UK Nationals, and I've been training hard, lots of training up and down the country.
Yeah. So not just in Scotland,
No.
you have to do a bit of travel
Yeah,
as well.
in England as well.
Brilliant. So how does it feel having an event of this size on your doorstep in Scotland?
It's great getting the younger ones into it, getting them on the foil, and then getting the older ones as well on the foil.
So today we have the Epic Marathon. So you did this last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a wee bit about what you're expecting today?
Yeah, so I think it should be pretty breezy out there, and
Okay, we're back in action and we're heading over to the committee boat now. We'll see what's going on in due course. We're having 6 races for each fleet, so they've updated it, so it's 6 races for the IQ foilers as well. So we'll have 3 more races for the IQ foilers to go, and we'll see very shortly. It looks like we see a lot of wings still at the committee boat, so we have not yet started the wings. We haven't missed any racing during that little output challenge, signal challenge. So now we're back to full strength and we'll update. Looks like the wingers are heading away from the start, which means they'll likely be coming in to the start on starboard very soon. Black flag is up, so we'll be approaching the 1 minute. When that black flag comes down, that's the 1 minute, and that will be everyone starting to accelerate towards the line on starboard. As I said earlier, we'll see if anyone takes that pin end off Rafty, or whether they let him take it again and cruise into the wind. That's the 1 minute signal now. We've got wings sailing away from the line. They'll be jibing round at roughly the 30-second point to come in, hopefully with full speed, and then it'll be up to them to judge their exact timings. The wingers are all approaching now on starboard. Pretty balanced lot. Looks like there's a few at that pin end, which is interesting. A few people potentially challenging Rafferty for the pin end, although it looks like the bulk is really focusing on the committee boat. Potentially there's been a change as a reason for that, but we do see Rafferty right at the bottom, as usual, cruising towards the line. If he's got his timing on, he'll be hard to beat. Guy Cribb right at the top. Freddie Strawson in the middle. Looks like a free wing race currently. We've got Rafty cruising. I'm getting deja vu from the last race. Freddie Strawson up directly above, and then we've got Guy Cribb. Look at Freddie's speed though round. If the wind picks up, Freddie might become something a bit more challenging to Rafty potentially, because he is a bigger fellow and he does have that height and weight advantage in the wind, although Rafty is really pumping, really working. I know Rafty has been working on his cardio recently and he is pretty fit. Rafty cruising in the lead, matching Freddie's jibes, really staying between Freddie and the mark. Freddie is being the main competitor, and Rafty pumping away, really not letting Freddie have a chance to overtake, although this is the closest we've really had Freddie at this point in the race, so potentially the wind has been picking up, and potentially Freddie's feeling a bit more comfortable and a bit faster and may be pushing Rafty on those reaches. Rafty jibes first, clearly on the ley line, Freddie carrying on. If Rafty's on this ley line, he's got a significant lead and is going to be very hard to overtake. Yep, Rafty, perfect ley line, perfect day so far, really not making many mistakes. That's giving any opportunity for the others to capitalise on. Rafty really cruising to the finish. Freddie rounding now. Rafty's almost the full reach ahead. I really wish I could go out there to Freddie and say push Rafty at the pin end, because that's what I'd say. He needs to upset Rafty at the start in order to have any chance of beating him round the course. Freddie's cruising in for second, going in for the jibe now, switching the feet before. It's a quicker way to jibe. Often people go and switch after the carve on this winging. The race jibe, as you can see, late feet switch, going out switch, and then he'll be switching stance potentially, or he'll just be cruising switch stance. The racers tend to switch their feet before the jibe, and then they're at full power in a powerful position to take the gust and accelerate quickly on exit. Guy Cribb, one of the legends of the sport, waving. He's been winging, very passionate about winging almost since the beginning, and he's very good winger on waves, racing, experienced racer, and a very fun guy to interview as well. He's one of the characters of the sport, clearly happy with the third. He was an 18th overall overnight after a fairly inconsistent scorecard, so he'll be very happy with a third overall. He's actually had 2 pretty good races. Last race he was top 5 as well. I think he was potentially has had 2 thirds, which is very good for Guy Cribb. We'll be cruising up to the start line again for the IQ foil racing. That's the last of the wingers finishing, and we'll be watching the next IQ foil race. On the IQ foilers, the main players have been, quite recently, has been Charlie Baker, who's very impressive. He's really improved his level recently, and he is one to watch in the upcoming race. He's been battling with Ivan Bosch, who was the overnight leader, Isla Watson, British sailing team superstar female of the sport, and she's been really pushing these guys around the course. And then we have Dan McGregor, who was in second overnight. Hasn't had the best last 2 races. He's been in the sort of third, fourth positions rather than the first and second, but he was really up there overnight, and he had the first win of the day, so we'll see how he goes into this race now. It's really heating up here. They've only got a couple more races to go on the day, and this will decide the first, second, third podium overall positions. This is the start now. They're all approaching the start. 30 seconds to the gun now, and we'll see how everyone goes. Looks like there's a build-up at the committee boat and at the pin end. Okay, that's the start. Great start at the pin end and the committee boat, and one just about squeezing through the middle. Good speed through the middle. Looked for a second like they were going to get squeezed over by the top sailor, but the great start at the committee boat was a junior sailor, and that's the speed differential. Charlie Baker cruising in. He's going around first again. Charlie's had an incredible day. He was in 4th overnight, and he's leading round. He's won a race already today. He is doing incredibly well. Okay, switching to the view from behind. Charlie Baker out in front, jibing off. Let's see if he can maintain the lead. Looks like there's been a bit of a shift there. Looks like there's been a quite a significant left-hand shift, which is interesting. Actually, that is a general recall. We'll see who was over. Charlie had an incredible start at the bottom. I hope for his sake, being so close to the medals, that he was not over. He's had an incredible day so far, showing incredible speed, and we'll see very shortly who was over exactly, and then they'll restart the IQ foil race 4. Okay, they're starting to work through the names now. They'll be reviewing the footage and they'll be starting very shortly. They'll be starting very shortly indeed. We've just had confirmation on the course that Dan McGregor, GBR 170, was over the line. Dan McGregor was in second overnight, started the day off well with a first, and then had two fairly consistent races, but he was not at the first or second mark. So we'll see how he takes that BFD and whether he can reset going into the final races of the day, and whether he can still challenge for the first or second position. But generally a BFD, especially given his scoreline, will not be pleasant, and he will need to fight back from this and reset. We've just started the 3 minutes of the IQ Foil race 4 of the day, and we will see if this gets off clean. Charlie Baker will be kicking himself, more likely kicking Dan for going over, because he had an incredible start and really an incredible day so far. We'll see if he can finish it just as well as he's been doing. Okay, we're within the last minutes. They're all approaching the line on starboard. Incredible start by Charlie Baker early on. We'll see how he does. Dan McGregor was binned from the last race for being over. We'll see if this is a clean start. But Charlie Baker is certainly one to watch. Someone cruising in for the pin, bit of a fight for the pin end. Really good start from the midline. Really good start from the midline and the pin end, and there's a fight as well. Effectively four people, front runners in the mix. Isla Watson on the bottom, does look like she's going to be rolled into the first mark, and then we have a youth board and a senior board, so that will be. We'll find out who the youth is shortly, but that's Ivan Bosch in second. Incredible. Charlie Baker followed up his incredible previous start with another shockingly great start in the middle, and he'll be fighting with Ivan for the first spot. Charlie Baker standing on, not following and covering Ivan's early jibe out. We'll see if that pays for him. The key race is between Isla Watson, early jibe out, Ivan Bosch, early jibe out, and Charlie Baker, but he looks like he's in an incredible spot. And wow, Charlie jibing. He thinks he's on lay. Sorry, that's Ivan jibing. Really tight cross with Charlie. Let's see if he's on lay. Ivan might overtake here. Charlie going for the jibe. Ivan cruising down the inside. If Ivan's on lay, this will be an overtake. If he's not, Charlie will take him. Ivan bearing away to make it round. Incredible lay line by Ivan. Really strong lay line, and he's overtaken Charlie after an incredible start. Will be followed up by Isla Watson in third, and then I believe another youth in fourth. And that's just all the other youths, juniors rounding the leeward mark for the 2 reaches. Really strong race by both Ivan and Charlie. Charlie has had an incredible day. That'll have shot him up the results. He was fourth going into this final day of racing, and he's had a very consistent day of results, really pushing. Obviously not finished, there's one more race to go, but he was overtaken there by Ivan, who was the overnight leader. Hasn't had as strong an overall day, but that first and the last race there will have really pushed him up. So it'll be interesting to see the results, actually, how this ends up, but it'll be incredibly tight racing. Unfortunately, Dan with the BFD in the last race, he was second overnight, second going into today. Unfortunately, that will have pulled him down, potentially below Charlie Baker. We'll find out. Charlie, is a real improver, not in the youth squad, but he will really be looking into making that next step forward in the future, and he is really one to watch. A very tall guy, and he has good leverage over equipment and has sailed an incredible day. We're just heading in now. That's the end of the foil course streaming for today, but if you join us shortly, we will be going into the Techno fleet and watching the Techno fleet and also some race boards. We've got a very large Techno fleet, the biggest fleet. We've got, I believe, 37 Technos. So we've got a lot of Technos, and we'll be trying to focus on some Technos.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Danny Hawthorne. I'm the chairperson of the Scottish Fin and Foil Association, the home of windsurfing, wing and foil in Scotland.
Fantastic. And where are we and what's happening at the moment?
So just now we're in Stranraer, the town of Stranraer in the southwest of Scotland. We've got the wonderful Loch Ryan here, which is the venue for our Fin and Foil Open Championships 2024. This is the second year we've done this. Last year was a really good, fantastic event, and this year it's bigger, better and brighter. It's fantastic.
Fantastic, absolutely. And there's tons going on. Just what have we got on the go?
So this week we've had 2 days of training for the youth fleets of the Techno fleet, which is the youth windsurfers, and the IQ Foil, which is the youth windsurf foilers. We've had the X15, a brand new fleet from Starboard, which is the youth wing foilers, joining us on the Wednesday with adult training too. And on Wednesday we kicked off the racing 5-day multi-class race event for windsurfers, wingers and foilers, and it's been brilliant so far.
Brilliant. And just how special is an event like this? You know, you've got lots on the go, like we just touched on, bringing together people of all ages. Just what an atmosphere it is you've created.
Yeah, I think that was the whole purpose of the Fin and Foil.
Okay, we're just approaching mid-raceboard race. They've already started. They're on their second lap of an upwind-downwind race, and we'll see how they're getting on. We've just switched from the IQ Foil racing, so if you guys wanted to rewind, you can watch the IQ Foil and wing racing. The IQ Foils are actually finished for the day, so we will update you on results if they come through in time. In the raceboard fleet, we have Bob Ingram leading overall. As a super veteran, Bob's been in this game for a long while, one of the key players in the UK windsurfing fleet. And in second we have Tom Davies from Scotland, and then Louis Morris. Mr. Morris is a very good raceboarder, has competed internationally multiple times and is really one to watch, especially in the light breeze. He is counting a DNC, but then he has had all wins since, so we potentially will see a lead change into today. On your screen there, in the big orange sail, that's our current leader, I believe. They're cruising downwind. That's Bob Ingram, just at the end of your screen, leading the race, or near the front of the race. Bob's cruising downwind. The raceboarders often either do a low non-pumping angle or they do a higher pumping angle and planing. Bob's currently approaching the downwind mark. He'll be rounding the leeward gate to the right, followed up closely by, I believe, Louis Morris. This is the race for first from Bob Ingram and Louis Morris, both on similar sails. I think the same brand of sail actually, same sail size as well, so we're getting some One Design wing racing, raceboard racing right now. Bob's really doing a tight upwind angle, and the main aim on that is to not allow anyone up the inside, and he's really extending on, I believe, Louis Morris in second. He's cruising out to this right hand side of the course, looking upwind. It looks fairly gusty, the streaks are coming down, but as long as Bob stays between the people behind him and the mark and tack on top to cover, he's going to be very hard to overtake. Bob's just tacked off. Now, yep, followed up by 2 tacks by the other sailors, the other racers. Bob's really cruising into the lead, and he'll be very hard to overtake currently. Correction, that is Tom Davies. Tom Davies in second, trying to catch up to Bob Ingram, and Bob Ingram is currently extending. They'll be going to the downwind. You can see a nice gust ahead of them, and they'll be going to the downwind and then to the finish. That's Bob Ingram just rounding the downwind, freeing off, trying to pick up speed and get this big old raceboard planing. Really nice shot of Bob planing downwind there. Super deep angle. Deeper than the ones behind. He is going to be hard to overtake currently, although Tom Davies does look like he's gaining distance. The distance is shortening, so we'll see what happens, whether Tom can throw an upset in the last moments of this race. The wind seems to have dropped out in the course. The speeds have slowed. Bob's doing a deeper angle and just ensuring he stays bow forward and deeper downwind than Tom Davies behind, and therefore cements his win. He's jibed out. Potentially he's on the ley line. He does look like he's on the ley line, picking up speed, planing in, and doesn't look like there's going to be an upset or a lead change currently. Close-up shot of Bob Ingram approaching the leeward mark. Great ley line by him, super good tactics, kept it clean and simple, and often clean and simple wins the races. Bob was the leader overnight, and he will be looking to keep his lead, although he has been challenged by Louis Morris, who potentially will have discarded his DNC from the start and may have overtaken today, but the results will be out later, and Bob is looking really great in this race. Okay guys, that was the raceboard race. They haven't yet finished, but it is looking like Bob is in a great position, followed up by Tom Davies, and I wouldn't expect a lead change, but anything can happen. So please check the results out later when they're released on the Fin and Foil website. It's been great hosting a live stream for you guys, and I hope to do this again soon. This has been our first live stream, so it hasn't been the smoothest service, but I do think we've done ourselves proud. It's been me, Henry and James. Henry and James have been behind the drones and have been doing a great job, and I hope you haven't minded me yapping on the commentary. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be ending the stream now.